The background to the global currency reset or reval. The global currency reset and the reval are actually two different events. The reval refers to the revaluation of Iraq's currency. The global currency reset refers to a much broader revaluation of many currencies around the world. But in the public's mind they've become linked together. I'll be using the terms interchangeably here. Let's have a look at some of the background to the reval to see what purposes it serves in the divine plan and how the company of heaven wishes us to look on it. When Ashta spoke of the revaluation of currencies, or reval, in late August 2013, he suggested that it was one way to show that the events being spoken of were real. If you look to the outside for tangible evidence for our messages, although we tirelessly stress that you should seek changes within yourselves in the first place, each and every one of you who follow our messages will see the first widespread, tangible proof by noticing the change in your financial affairs, especially with the revaluation of many currencies. We are certainly aware that many, if not all of you, have some doubts now and then whether all this is real. And we understand this because of the many changes in the divine plan experienced by you throughout your journey. 1. The reval would show many doubters that things are actually occurring, he said. This is the reason why the revaluation of many currencies is of such importance. It will show you that everything is for real and not a dream. 2. Shuldan Nittle's sources spoke next about the event, in early September 2013. They saw it as the clarion call that signaled the end of the cabal's political and financial rule. Until recently the dark cabal's power was all but omnipotent, but now the point has been reached where it can no longer deny you your sacred destiny. A great prosperity linked to a global revaluation of your various national currencies is ready to happen. This grand event is the clarion call which will expel the old governance from power and influence. It will liberate you from your many illegal debt obligations by instigating universal debt forgiveness, and this includes your release from any incurred indebtedness to this old governance. You are about to inherit not only this divine gift of freedom but also a never-ending supply of prosperity. 3. He spoke again a week later about the grand monetary reset of the world's currencies that was about to begin and linked it to the worldwide distribution of our various prosperity funds. These two actions would end the cabal's grip on power. Taken together, these two actions will complete the legal operation to swiftly bring down the once mighty clutch of your illegal governments which have so long browbeaten your world. This feat will result in the termination of global debt enslavement which underpinned your fiat currency financial system. The new hard currency, prosperity-based system will ensure your freedom and guarantee you your personal sovereignty. Now the bumpy road to full consciousness becomes a clear and open highway. 4. Another week later, he said that the dark cabal's debt-based economic system is truly on the ropes and continues to induce a rate of debt formation that is quite astounding. In effect, it has reached a point where the weight of debt is beginning to gouge into the infrastructure of the system, threatening to rip it asunder, and it has become clear that the dark can no longer hold the center together. It sees the moment approaching when a new system must take over and recognizes that this signals the end of its time at the top. 5. He called the reset the kick of the mule, which is to jettison these haughty ones from power. 6. At the same time that the cabal was falling, the mass of society was rising, his sources said. The dark cabal is losing its wealth while you are gaining yours. Divine purpose is in play. Hence, use these funds wisely and permit your brethren to enjoy the fruits of this new prosperity. Realize that a new reality is dawning and reflect on your new fortunes. Be ready, when required, to explain why new governance emerged. 7. Most recently, Shuldan's sources gave the following summary of the reval on February 18, 2014. A process will be set in motion to make it possible for a great prosperity to be redistributed to you. Our liaisons are working diligently to explore a most needed set of protocols that will swiftly lead to a global currency reset. The currency reset is a natural process to set up a certain level of agreed upon value between the world's nations. This is a basis for global trade, and in the end, the start of an operation that is scheduled to lead to a precious metal-backed monetary system. Included in this reset is the use of new banking regulations such as Basel III. This revised structure will expand the distribution of various prosperity packages. The intent is to reform the current system of haves and have-nots and replace it with a worldwide spread of prosperity. The old system of income taxation needs to be revamped. A debt jubilee will be declared and the old corrupt system put to rest. This new system will redo the globe's infrastructures and establish a new foundation that takes advantage of now suppressed technologies. This will later be added to by our off-world devices. Then your world can move out of its present technological dilemma and prepare for a new consciousness. 8. Moreover, his sources say, the Revol will provide the foundation for the release of the Prosperity Program funds and trigger provisions of NISARA. 9. The new currencies, the gold backing and new international banking rules will forge the foundation for the release of the two-step prosperity funds. These operations will enforce now sequestered legislation to bring out the various provisions of N.E.S.A.Ra. These rules will cause a domino-like effect to alter governance and return it to the people. In this milieu, governance will aid the light and allow formal disclosure to occur. This new environment will also permit us to begin a series of worldwide lessons about your most dearly kept perceptions. 10. Archangel Michael discussed the Revol in late September 2013. For some people, he said, I bring you back a year, and for others of you I bring you back a decade, and for some of you a decade and a half. Because many of you have been at this for a very long time. 11. Was it a scam? He asked. No, it was not. Is this a scam? It is a prayer, a promise, a trust, and an act of change, not simply an act of faith, but an act, a proactive movement, of change. 12. Apparently according to AAM, humans love currency. It is an idea. Currency has never been more than a concept and an idea. And it is an idea of abundance for many. Freedom, for food, clean water, housing, play, attending to your community. So you like currency. 13. Therefore the company of heaven is using currency to transition us out of poverty into abundance and thence into co-creation. So why would we, when we have no need for currency, say, now, you have no need for currency when you love it. It is showing you, and it is transitioning you, into a place where currency becomes what it is, an idea. And the more you work with this creation of abundance, for many, for all, then the more it becomes your ability to simply create out of thin air. Because that is what you are really doing. 14. So the Revol is intended to be the first illustration that everything is real and not a dream. It's the first stage of the financial reconstruction that we'll notice and be impacted by. It's meant to be part of a transition from currency to the more developed ways of seeing to our needs that will come with the shift to higher consciousness. And it's the signal for other projects such as the prosperity programs and for many of the provisions of NISARA to begin. Brace yourself for the Great Reset. We are coming to a period I call the Great Reset. As it hits, we will have to deal with the largest twin bubbles in the history of the world. One of those bubbles is global debt, especially government debt. The other is the even larger bubble of government promises. These promises add up to hundreds of trillions of dollars. That's vastly larger than global GDP. These are real problems we must face. It will mean forging a new social contract. It will also require changes to taxes and the economy. I believe that within the next 5-10 years, we have to end the debt and government promises. What I mean by government promises are pensions and healthcare benefits. Governments assumed that taxes would cover their immediate costs. They thought future politicians would figure out the rest. Now the time is nearing when those future politicians are elected. This is the worst recovery ever. After a big recession, debt is usually reduced. That is what many expected in 2009. Individuals in some countries did reduce their debts. That is what happened in the US. But governments and corporations did not reduce their debt. As of 2014, total global debt rose to $199 trillion. It grew $57 trillion in just the previous 7 years. That's about $8 trillion a year. The McKinsey Institute chart below shows how debt is split within the countries that make up the bulk of the world economy.